Hi, this is Martin Dilger and this is the first effectivetrainings.de screencast. I'm very glad that you listen because today we got a special episode. This episode is in English because we're going to talk about a topic that you won't find anywhere on the web. We're going to talk about the Picket framework. You never heard about the Picket framework? That's no problem because I'm going to show you what the Picket framework can do for you. Let me tell you a little story. Recently I decided to stop being an employee and start being a freelance software consultant, doing my own business, being an entrepreneur. Well, every entrepreneur, every software consultant needs its own web page, so I started looking around for Java-based domain hosters. You gotta know I got a pretty strong Java background, doing a lot of server-side stuff with enterprise Java, with Spring and all the funny stuff. I really like it, so I wanted a Java-based domain, but if you look around, these are pretty expensive. You gotta pay 20 or 30 euros a month. And that for a page that is pretty static with some minor exceptions. So I looked around for alternatives and I found out that PHP based domains are pretty affordable. Now I got a domain that I pay about 15 euros a year and there's much storage and all the things that you need. You got a MySQL database and all the stuff that you need. The only problem is you gotta do PHP programming. Well, I haven't done any PHP for about 10 years, so I started looking into the language once more, and what I found out is that PHP is pretty cool. You can do object-oriented programming, you got functional aspects. It looks pretty good. While the only problem is, in my mind, there is no real good UI framework. In my daily work I often use, as often as I can, the Wicket framework because it's so easy and lean and straightforward. So I looked if there is a PHP framework that feels a little bit like Wicket, but there is no such framework. So I started developing my own framework and the working title for this framework is Picket. Pretty creative, huh? Well, today I'm going to show you what the Picket framework can do, and I hope you get interested. So let's get started. Let's look what the Picket framework can do for you. First of all, what you need to do is you need to get the sources of the Picket framework, and there you go to GitHub, to my repositories, and here you got something like Picket. Picket is the Git repository for GitHub. Just copy the URL here, and what we do here is we say git init, make a Git repository, and we say something like git submodule add URL to subfolder Picket. What Git does now is clone the repository and make it available as a subfolder within this Git repository. Here you got all the sources that you need to work with the Picket framework, and that's what we're doing now. So what we get here is we got a folder called effective-trainings-screencasts, and this is a folder that is mapped to my locally running Apache web server. So we just do a test and we just define a new folder HTML, and here within here a file welcome.html, and here we got a basic HTML structure, and here we say hi, that seems to work. Every page needs a title, and we say this is effectivetrainings.de screencasts. So we look, I should be able to say localhost HTML, the welcome HTML. Well, this is great. What we do here is don't use an HTML but a PHP file just to check whether PHP is also working, and we say something like PHP info, and now I should say PHP, oh well, we got PHP version 5.3.13. This seems reasonable. And now what we're trying to do, what we definitely need is something like our domain model. So what we define is a class address, and an address has something like private street and something like private city. This is enough, and we define a constructor and the public function address $street $city $this street is street $this city is city, and we say something like generate getters and setters. Well, looks good. Normally you would not do that. You would not generate getters and setters automatically, but at least the setters only when you need them. But we will need them later, so I generate them now. So we say here we generate a new class customer, and here we say public function customer name, email, and definitely address. And this is of type address, isn't it? So this is great. And we define private name, private email, private address. Oh, no. What is that? Address. And here we say this name is name, this email is email, and this address is address. Great. No, stop that. So, and here we generate also getters and setters for this class. And what we do now is we got this file welcome PHP, and what we want to do is we want to welcome the customer on our page, and what we need is the name of the customer. And normally you would do something like that. You would say div PHP. First of all, we generate our customer. We say, let's initialize the page here. We say address, new address with I don't know, test street and definitely Munich. And we say customer is new customer, and here we got so Heinz at effectivetrainings.de, and we say address. Great. So what you normally would do here is you say something like customer get name. Okay, let's look if this works. Oh well, of course we need all the imports that are important. First of all, we need to import our own domain classes. This should be something like address and wrong. Something like address and something like customer. And if you want to use the picket framework later, that's something we'll look at later. Let's see if this works. Well, looks great, doesn't it? Oh, well, let's see. Here is nothing. something like that. Did I close Safari? Welcome PHP. Well, this is Heinz. Okay, what we can do with the Picket framework is don't use these expressions within your HTML. Hey, HTML is your markup language. You don't want to mix up logic and your HTML. What you want to do here is say PID name. This div should display the name of the customer. So what you can do here is you say label is new label name. This is the ID, and you say here's something like new property model customer name. Well, here are some new concepts. If you already worked with Wicket, this is something that looks pretty similar to you. First of all, we need something to combine the HTML markup with the PHP component. A label is the most simple component that you can use in Picket. As in Wicket, this is a component that just displays something from a model, and the model is something that works like a data source for something, and the label just displays what you got here. And this time we use a property model, and the property model uses the getters and setters of the provided domain model. So in this case, the property model would look for a getter that is called getName, calls this and displays everything that is displayed. So just let's look if that works. First of all, okay, we need to enable Picket for that, and we say require once. And this is important. You need to do that. You need to say Picket autoloader.php, and this enables all the classes from the Picket namespace to be available instantly. So, and here we need to say label render directly. If you work with the Picket components directly on the page, you need to enable that. If you say, and you need to say render directly. And what should happen now is you see the name, and this works not only for that. So let's display something like the street. And here we say, well, it's almost the same, so just copy it for the sake of simplicity and say street, and we say customer address.street. Well, let's see what happens. Oh, well, even that works. And we say address.city. And this is Munich. Well, this looks pretty great, doesn't it? Normally you would not work that way because this is pretty overhead. What you can do is you can define a new component, for example, and say this is something like customer panel. Well, if you come from Wicket, you know what a panel is. A panel is something that has its own markup, and then that can be used everywhere in your application. And you say something like extends panel. Panel is another class from Picket, and here you create a new HTML file called customer panel.html. This needs to be the same name as the component class. Here we delete everything. So, and panel looks in the same package for a markup file with the same name, in this case customer panel.html, and this is combined. You see in a minute what this means. So here we say public function customer panel ID, and we need a model. And we say this panel, this is the super constructor if you come from Java, and $model. Okay, and here we say hi, this comes from a panel. And on our welcome page, I don't do that because this is pretty complicated. And we say here, write customer panel, and I create the new panel. We need to adjust the imports once more. The main customer panel .php, and I create a new panel. I say customer panel is new customer panel. The ID is customer panel. This is the same as this one. And we say new simple model. Simple model is just a wrapper and gets the customer. And we need to render, so we say customer panel render directly. Oh, well, customer panel. So let's see what happens. Fatal error, class panel not found, and that means that I need to import. Same thing as here, I need to activate picket here. Hi, this comes from a panel, and you see everything that I do within this HTML gets rendered exactly to this place just by these two lines. So what we do here is we define a new form, and the form gets a PID of type form, and here we define an input type text, PID name, and an input type text, PID email, and an input type text, PID street. So city is not so important, and what we do here is we say form is new form form. Remember, this is the same ID as this one, is new form, and this just gets the customer. This add form. With this add, we combine several components into one. The customer panel now gets hold of the form component, and this is because the form component is defined within the customer panel. So here we can do something like this. We can do, or we say form, add new text field, name, new property model. Model, this is the customer name. Okay, so we define a new text field that is of input type text with the ID name that is defined here, and a new property model that references the name of the customer. And we do the same for the email and reference the email property, and we do the same for the street and reference customer address dot street. And what we need here is we need a new submit button, input type submit. This does not need to be a picket component, because well, it could be, but we want to submit the form, and this is just plain HTML. Well, let's see what happens here. Oh, there you go. We got the form. This is pre-filled with the values from the customer. We got Heinz, we got the email, and we got the test street. If we submit, we can change the one here to Martin, and this one gets set into the customer. Our customer here has the new name set. What we can try is, just to show you that this works, if I disable the setter for picket, this one is read only. And if I change this now to Martin, well, this does not work. Well, this is an exception. Well, this is not implemented very properly at the moment. Normally I think this should just be a read-only property and should not give you any exceptions. Well, but you see this does not work because Picket looks for the setter, and well, pretty great. So what we can do now, is we define the text field email as a variable. We say this is email, and email should be validated. And we say email, oh no, much better. What we say here, we do the same for name because we need the name. And what you can do currently is you can provide an empty name. This is pretty bad, and what you can do here is you can add a new validator. You say name, add validator, new required validator, and now the form does not get submitted and Heinz is still there. Well, what you don't have currently is something like feedback, and what you can define here is div PID feedback, and here you define feedback is new feedback panel. A feedback panel is nothing more than a component that displays validation errors that are registered within the components. And here you got the ID feedback, and the component that is recursively searched for feedback messages is form. So this feedback panel shows all the feedback messages of form and all the subcomponents of form, which means all the input fields here. We add the feedback to the form. Oh, well, we say form add feedback, and what you got here is oh, I made a mistake. This is not enough. What we need here is a feedback and one child that is duplicated for every feedback message found. This is, I don't know. Oh no, it's ULLE PID feedback. This needs to have the same ID as the parent. And now this should work. Wow. Feedback child. Oh, I changed this recently. The ID of the child probably needs to be feedback child. Feedback child is the ID of the parent plus child. Okay? Well, let's look what happens. And oh well, dies ist ein Pflichtfeld. This is German at the moment, but we got a required validator, and you must not change this. So how does that work? Let's take a little look into the required validator to see. Well, oh, this is at the moment this is hard coded. This is not good, but this is work in progress, and we just say if the value is empty, add a new feedback message to this component with this message and a level of error. Okay, pretty straightforward. What we can do also is we could try to validate the email address. We could say, oh, well, let's define something like an email validator that extends what's the class? Extends validator, and what is that? Class reference implements validator. And we say add methods. We got one method, validate, that receives a component that needs to get validated and the value we want to validate. So here we enable as everywhere picket. Just copy and paste if you want. And well, let's just give out what happens here. What we get is $value dot is to be validated, so that we just see this method gets called, and in our customer panel we say email add validator, new email validator. And I think we need to import the email validator. So, well, let's see what happens. Is to be validated. Well, you see, this is the value Heinz at effectivetrainings.te is to be validated. If I go to the page, well, yeah, great. So we get the value, and what we can do here is, I don't know, if value substring count value, and I don't know, add if there is no add in the email. This is, we say component add get feedback messages, add new feedback message. Emails need to have an add level is definitely error. Well, no idea whether this works, so let's just have a look. We submit this one, seems okay. We remove the add, and oh, emails need to have an add. So what you could do is define an email text field that combines all this, and everywhere you use this component you get validation out of the box. Isn't that great? So another feature I want to show you that I pretty like, what you can define is something like a customer panel resource.php. This is some customer panel resource, and this is something that is pretty the same as the property files in Java. PHP has out of the box no notion of property files, and I think there is no need to use them. What you can do is you can define const values, and you say const is customer name label, the pretty customer name. And here you go, we define a label for, we give it a name, PID, well, this must be an ID, right? PID customer name label. And here you say this is the right place. Customer name label is new label, customer name label, new resource model, customer name label $this. What this one does is it looks for a component or PHP class that has the same name as this class with underscore resource.php, and looks there for constants with this name. So in this case we have a constant customer name label This is customer name label. I think this should work. Let's see. No. Why not? Well, I didn't add the customer name label. The pretty customer name, and this is exactly the thing that we defined here. And what you could do also is you could use, well, let's see if I got a good idea. Well, what you could do is you could add a behavior. A behavior is, well, pretty the same as behaviors in Wicket. It's something you can attach behaviors to certain components without changing the components itself. So here you say new, oh well, let's behavior. Let's define this one off topic. We say behavior is new behavior I need a good idea. I say validation behavior. Well, this is good. This is really good. Implements. Well, implements is good. Implements behavior. So we need to implement some methods. We got a method bind that is called whenever this behavior is attached to a component, and here we store the component to use it for later usage. So we say private component, and this is called dollar. This component is dollar component, and we got a callback here. Well, this is, well, what is that? Oh well, this is pretty long. It's been a while since I implemented this. I need to look. I think I have some behaviors here. Where is it? Behavior repeater page. Where is it? Let's look to effective trainings and grab for behavior, and oh yes, here we go. We say find. This is the source code for my webpage effectivetrainings.de, which is implemented with Wicket, and here we got a behavior, the one that I wanted to implement now, and here we, oh, I'm so dumb. I can override the lifecycle methods. I completely forgot that, so I say here request cycle bindable. I need to extend behavior adapter, and now I can, a behavior adapter should take care of the bind. No, it doesn't. What we need to do here, or what we can do here, is we define on render. On render is called right before the component is rendered, and here we can say something like if $this component has errors. What? This must work. Oh, this is of type component. Well. component stub. This component has errors. Just give IntelliJ some hints that it can do its work. If this component has errors, this component add attributes, and we say array. This is something like style. I don't know, border 1 pixel solid red. If the component has errors, this behavior just attaches some attributes that are rendered in the component, and in this there should be an attribute style with border 1 pixel solid red, so this component should be marked red whenever there is an error. So, and here we say customer name label, app behavior, new validation behavior, and we say, oh no, not the customer name label, this is wrong, the name field needs to be validated, so we say name, and the same is for email. Okay, let's look. Validation behavior not found. Well, the same error as always. Normally, you would just write your own autoloader for your project, then you wouldn't need to import all that stuff. Unable to define undefined variable behavior in customer panel. What the heck? Oh, here. This is wrong. So this is not red. Why is it not red? I don't know. Oh, there's something here, but this looks a bit strange. Well, probably we just found a bug. Let's see what the validation display behavior does. Or it just depends a class error. Well, we could try that, but I need to look why this doesn't work. Add attributes, array, style. Oh, probably the parser. No, there's probably a bug in the parser. Let's look. No. Well, let's see what happens if I just define add new class error. No, this doesn't work. Why? Why does it not work? Oh, I need to use append attribute. Let's see. No. Here is the error. Probably there's a bug in the parser. I don't know what happens here. ID name, and here should be the class with error. Just let me take a look in Firefox, because there I got the Firebug and can look at the source HTML welcome.php. So here, and look, oh no, this is wrong. Look what Firebox says. Oh, it defines an error. Error is empty. No, this is definitely a bug, but why does this one work? If this component has errors, append attribute array. Is there a difference? I don't know. Well, just take the copy and look. So you see live how I discover bugs in Picket. Well, this does work. What the heck? Where's the difference here? If this component has errors, this component append attribute array class. Is this parent on render? No. Once more. There's the class error. I don't know what happened. I'll take a look at that. But, well, we got there are many components already implemented. You got the text area, you got submit links, you got password text field, you got drop downs. There's a lot of stuff that happens inside Picket. There are forms submit listeners, callback, required validators. A lot of stuff happens here. Looks pretty great to me. It's a lot of fun to do that stuff. So I hope I could give you a little insight how Picket works, what's the idea, and if you're interested, just contact me at Martin at effectivetrainings.de. Just send me an email or go to effectivetrainings.de, which is my webpage done with Picket. And there you got, for example, the navigation is done with Picket. You got the contact form here. This is done with Picket, and just send me an email here. You got validation and all the like. If you like that stuff, just give me a ping and let's talk about it. If you want to get involved. I'm really happy if people want to get involved in Picket, because I don't have as much time as I would like to have. This is really much fun, and I hope you get interested in the framework, have fun with it, and contact me. Bye. effectivetrainings.de screencast.